Let's head to the west, the wild, wild west, Perth, Western Australia. Today I'm having a chat with Austin from Westgrid Electrical in Perth, Western Australia. Austin came to me when he was just about getting his electrical contractor's license sorted in Perth, and he was lacking a little bit of direction. He's come on board a few months later. He is up, he is branded, he is running, he looks professional, and most importantly, he's making money. Enjoy this chat I've had with Austin. I'm just having chit chat with you, just in case you're like on edge. You're just like, no. Today I'm speaking with Austin Aves from Westgrid Electrical in Perth, Western Australia, with his journey from employment to starting his electrical business and everything in between. Hope you enjoy.
I start three things at once. That's the best thing about the course. I would be the one, if he gave us all those things at once, I would have went straight to the sales, and then I would have kind of like having it to where you start this and then you finish that and you go to the next one. That's like the best thing ever for me, because if I was allowed to just go like run loose to it all, I would have started every one of them and not finished one of them. That's probably one of the best things.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, tell us about you. Tell us about your electrical business, what kind of work you do.
Yeah, based in Perth, in most of the like coastal and kind of inner region. And yeah, it's mainly service and maintenance work. It's kind of the work I like doing. It's pretty popular for boys up here to go kind of finish your apprenticeship, and everyone goes up north. Everyone will chase the money up there. And yeah, I've never really been all that interested in going up north. I actually like, everyone kind of gets a bit of a bad rep, but I actually like the service and maintenance work. I like dealing with the clients. They got a problem, they got an issue, you go in there, you fix it, and then someone's happy about it at the end of the day. I've never done any commercial and all that, but I feel like, you do this, you're just a number, no one really cares. You solve a problem and it's just all right, on to the next one.
Never took a fancy to you to go, I would like to go into the mines?
Not really. My old man, he's been mining forever. Like, the whole time I've been like alive. And obviously, seeing like you missed out on a fair bit. Like, Christmases is away, birthdays, all that sort of stuff. So I never really had that desire to go mining, because I felt like kind of, seeing that sort of side of it when you do get a family and all that. And then at the old company I did my apprenticeship with, I had a really good apprenticeship in the fact that we did a lot of everything, a lot of renovation, service and maintenance. We looked after a couple of shopping centres, so I got to touch a little bit of commercial. And then he also had an industrial contract, so I did a little bit of that. And then the boys that work there, they had done a lot of mining, and they said it's pretty much the same. Like, if you go up to the mines, you're pretty much doing this kind of work when you're over there. And I absolutely hated working there. I couldn't stand it. Like, just going out there, filling out paperwork, sitting around, wait, this guy's in a meeting, so he's going to sit around and wait. I couldn't stand it. So when they told me that's what mining was, I was pretty much like, oh, well, I don't mind service and maintenance, so I pretty much stick in doing that.
You've spent the entire working time with the one employer. It was 6 years all up.
Yes, 6 years. So I did my 4-year apprenticeship and then did 2 years as a trainee with him. And like as I said, wicked apprenticeship, got to kind of touch a little bit of everything. Like, at that place. So obviously, resi, bit of commercial, bit of industrial, and good guy to work for. So I never really had any inkling to really leave. That's kind of what made me go into business, because I was like, oh, well, like, worst case scenario, I just do subcontracting, but then I'm working for a bunch of different guys, so I can learn from them, which was kind of what I was missing at the other company. And then, obviously everyone's always chasing more money and stuff, and I knew I wasn't going to go FIFO, so the business thing just kind of made sense for me.
There's some pros to having like an extremely small company working with the one employer, is like you end up getting a really good training through them. I spent my entire apprenticeship just me and the boss, and like because I was thrown into the deep end immediately, like I was wiring houses start to finish, I think like 9 months into my first year. So it was like proper slave labor for an apprentice. But yeah, you get a good training when you're with the smaller crew or with the same employer for that length of time. Let's rewind this back to before you became a member as well. You reached out to me probably about 9 or 10 months ago, and you were kind of curious. You'd gone through some stuff, and then you reached out to me and you ended up putting it on pause and then coming back around again. And now you've been inside a few months and you've changed a lot of things. How did you discover my stuff, or where did you go down the rabbit hole of my content?
Well, it's because over here in WA, you do, when you want to open your own business, you have to do a contractor's course, which I think is pretty different to, I think maybe Melbourne's the same. But so I booked in that course, and then when I booked that in, that's when I was like, I need to start getting a bit serious about this. And that's when I started kind of listening to the podcast, just any podcast out there, just kind of listening to them and hearing other guys' experiences and, the kind of things that they were teaching, kind of trying to just kind of piece together like how to run a business and stuff. And then that's how I come across your stuff and started listening to your podcast. From there, then that's when I kind of reached out to you just before the course. But I felt uneasy about like, because I didn't feel as though I had a business yet because I hadn't even done this course. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm jumping the gun. So I kind of put it on pause for a little bit. And then once I'd done the contractor's course, then I was like, all right, like it's time to get it serious. And then it's kind of when I reached back out to you, had a bit of a meeting, decided it was going to be a good fit. And then, yeah.
Here we are. One point in that as well is like we spoke about it just before we hit record. I think you're quite disciplined and systematic. But one thing you mentioned as well is kind of what you enjoyed about the Simplified Sparky is kind of the restrictions that are put in place, but for good reason.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you said that I kind of laughed and I kind of thought I don't feel like I'm like that at all because I'm one of those guys where I just you listen to a podcast, you hear three good ideas, and I start looking into all three of them, but I don't finish one of them. So that's the good thing about the course where you kind of only letting us, you got to do this to completion and, prove that you're doing it good to then access the rest of the stuff, which is, it's good for me because I'll just get lost. I'll just be going after all of it and not finishing anything and then just kind of be probably still in the same sort of spot. So
maybe I think you're disciplined because I made you discipline. As we mentioned at the start, when I speak to you off camera, you go straight for the good stuff. You go straight for like the sales, the quoting, conversion, all that kind of stuff. And like what people forget about, which is one of I can't stress enough, the most important thing is knowing your ideal client, knowing the type of work you want to do, and your message is going to speak to those clients to get you all of that work, which you've implemented into your website, your branding, your vehicle, everything. And those bits people miss and they go straight for the good stuff, not really realizing like when the good stuff dies out, there's no more good stuff coming back into their business in regards to leads because they haven't put in the foundational work. And have you seen importance with that and the reasoning why that you do need to put that into place in electrical businesses?
I mean, even going touching back on like the branding and stuff. Like I know before, if I hadn't joined, I know I would have just done everything I just think like looks cool. Like I like all like minimum, like not too many like logos and stuff. Like I would have probably got a very minimum like logo on the van and stuff. And then I actually had a guy call me up the other day about an EV car charger. And the reason he said he sent me in the Coles car park and I had EV charger on the side of the U. And then that's how I got that got that lead. So that's all kind of out of the branding there because it's all just right in someone's face on the U. But if I was kind of like doing my own thing, I would just kind of go what I thought looked cool. And
We do all kinds of electrical, no job too big, no
yeah,
job too small. But like
yeah,
what you
exactly.
did was you subconsciously planted a seed in that prospect now client's head that, it's just like serendipitously he was in the market for an EV charger and then there it is, you're right in front of him. People waste valuable marketing space on their vehicles because it's a mobile billboard. It's if you do your van or your ute correctly, it's passing thousands of cars and you're stuck like in Sydney, sure as shit, you're stuck in traffic. Perth, you're probably flowing along not too bad, but Sydney, you're like literally crawling down roads. So it's ideal, and that's why it's very important that people relay to prospects exactly what they do. And you've done that. You've applied that to your branding, and lo and behold, it's working. People like, oh my god, I have to spend like a couple of grand on a wrap. It's like I don't want to spend that money. It's too much. People get it into their head that it's an expense. It's not. It's an investment because like you pay for that wrap once. That wrap is probably paid on your ute now with that one job, and then it's going to keep on snowballing, keep on snowballing. So it's another source of work, or else people will just stuff it up and they'll just put like I did at the very start, electrical contractor. What the fuck does that electrical contractor do? Is it commercial, industrial, everything? It's very important. You had a journey getting to where you were employed to the electrical contractor right now in probably one of the best areas, I believe, in Perth, is Scarborough Beach. Am I pronounced that
Yeah,
correctly? So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
in a red. Would you say that's kind of like the equivalent of like your Bondi or Coogee of Sydney? Like that would be one of your main beaches.
yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're in such a good area. I've been there many years ago, and I will get there again. This call was too long for a flight. Like I would love to go there. I will come over, but yeah, I usually do these in person. But like yeah, Perth is quite a trek. I'm interested to you as well that you and the legend that is Kenny are two people that I seen gaps when you came into Simplified Sparky. I was like, my whole model is essentially for guys that have a business up and running. But what I spotted was most of the market coming in was like, and what I know is as well, and compliments to yourself, is like really smart guys tend to reach out to me. Like I find that everybody that's in the group seems to be like a step above the rest. And I think what happens and what I urge people to do is go back to the start of the podcast, go back to the very start of the YouTube videos, and just take all the free stuff, digest it. Because I know what happens is the right people and the people that want to better their businesses will actually rise to the top and they'll reach out to me. It's like, I know you've given me all this free shit, but I want to see what's in the inside. And you like compliments to you, compliments to all the guys that have come in. And there's some really, really smart people inside in that group that are just like, they're just driven people. And that's the kind of people I love working with because I thought I didn't want to work with startup businesses, but now I absolutely fucking love it. It's extremely enjoyable just to see the little wins and the little journeys that people go on to start from zero, like yourself, and then just start basically generating a revenue, paying yourself a wage, and now building an established business, which is extremely satisfying. The gap that I seen with you and Kenny was like, I was like, there's no in between of the employment to actually starting the business. So what I did was built the off the ground course, which essentially is those exact steps. Things like, do you go as a company or a trust? Do you register for GST? Where do you get your website? What softwares do you need to get going? What are the bare essentials that you need? You were one of the first guinea pigs through that as well. And I think you would have taken a lot from that as well to essentially just to get your youth on the road and ready to go as well.
Yeah, there's so much to get sorted out, like insurances, setting up the company, all that sort of stuff. Like, so yeah, having something like that made it much easier just to tick along.
Did you sacrifice your vehicle to buy the ute?
Yeah, because it was kind of I was very big from the start. I always wanted to look like I was a much bigger or a more established company than I was. And I had a bit of an old farm ute, my uncle's old farm ute, like one of those N70 Hiluxes. And I knew like I could start the business out of it, but I knew it just looked like a sole trader, one man band sort of like thing, which wasn't the branding I wanted to kind of have. So I sold that, and then I bought a 2021 like little 2x2 Toyota Hilux, and it looks like a fleet car. It looks like a kind of car that a big company would have bought 10 of them, and having that kind of look and it just makes you look much more professional and stuff. So I wasn't one of that. So yeah, sold the car and got that.
The sick thing about that as well is like when you do go and expand, you get an apprentice, you get a worker, you can just get another one of those and print it up again, and then you will be building your fleet. It depends what you want to do. I did that as well. Kept the same color, kept the same scheme, and it looks a lot more professional rather than like a mixed bag of different vehicles. And then I ended up downsizing because I realized that staff weren't for me, as I'm very open about. I just like virtual staff, and the thoughts of AI extremely excite me a lot in regards to agents, which we won't even get into in this chat, but it's coming. One of the key things as well that before you started, tell me about integrating yourself into the softwares. Now that you're running your business with the likes of ServiceMate and Zero and stuff like that, can you see what it would have been like not using those softwares? Super quick podcast interruption. Hope you're enjoying it. If you check out the show notes attached to this podcast, there are links to find me directly. If you want to work with me, I work with electrical business owners just like you, improving their electrical businesses. If you want a little bit extra to the podcast, there's also a short email series to improve your simplified Sparky marketing flywheel. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, I actually can't believe that people, like, I mean, obviously, I've done it we were using ServiceMatter my whole company, but I didn't know anything about the front end or the back end of ServiceMatter, how to really use it like properly. And I can't imagine ever running my business without ServiceMatter, like the house and everything. I think it's almost as essential to me as really having like my pliers and screwdrivers, like as far as being the business owner. Like being able to kind of like just track everything for the job, even just all the job photos, job notes, invoicing from there, quoting from there, tracking your time on site, like everything like that.
Every few months, you'll see somebody post up on the contractors forum saying like, "Our job management software is any good? Do I need one?" Someone go, "Just use Zero," and it's like, no, it's like Zero is for your financials. It like the ability and power that you can get inside service, mate. Like as I said, that like I speak about my flywheel, about the before, during, and after stage of the client's journey. The center cog is your job management software. That's where the leads go in, they get handles, they get churned back in, and it just goes around and around. And only for service, mate, with all the little automations and stuff you can plug into it. I honestly don't know how. I do know how they operate. They operate a shit business, and that's the reality of it. And I mean, you can get on service, mate, essentially for free. I don't advise it. I advise you to go. I think it's like the second top tier package. It's 150 or something right now, and
Yeah.
that therefore it gets you customizable SMS, which is paramount as well for just professionalism when you are going out to those jobs. It's insane that setting up your software and stuff like that is just such a key stepping stone of having a professional business.
For sure.
And yeah, even just like getting quick reviews after jobs as well, because you even mentioned that one day you did three jobs and you got three reviews,
Mm.
and just following simple systems. And yeah, I'm sure clients were very happy to give you those reviews.
I mean, even that's like the thing that I'm probably the most complimented on is just the level of communication and stuff. And really like kind of makes you laugh. It doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything because it's all just automated inside a
Yeah.
service, man. Like you schedule the job and they get like a booking confirmation and then, they get a reminder 24 hours before the job that you're going to be there. And then you go into the job and they're getting a live tracker, you're going there. And for me to do all that, it's like there's literally nothing. It's all pretty much automated. They just kind of click a button to go to the job and navigates you there. And then, but people, when they're like experiencing that, it's because people obviously have terrible experiences with trades and especially communication and like just being confident that the trade's going to rock up on site like that. And if you're doing all that, yeah, I've been complimented like, yeah, a good handful of times on that. And it's funny because I don't feel as though I'm really, I don't feel as though I'm actually doing anything. I'm not working hard to do that. It's just kind of just ticking along in the background, which is wicked. And then yeah, obviously that's the kind of things that people bring up in the Google reviews because that's normally their like that pain points of like, is he gonna rock up when he says he is? Is like like all that sort of stuff. And I feel like half the time it's the kind of the stuff that leads to the reviews. So it's wicked.
To have the generic template for the review, it will literally take you under. Like I give you my template for the reviews. You can literally cut and paste into your service and it's done. It's set and forget. You do not have to go into your phone, go into your iPhone, go into text message, go into the client, start typing out the message every single time. You literally go to your service, mate. You go tick, 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 send, drive. And like while you're driving, you might get an alert saying like reviews been left. And like that's what my whole thing is about, is like integrating these tiny little systems into your business that gets you efficiency. 5 minutes here, 2 hours here. You build it once and it might take you a little bit of time to build specific systems, but once they're built, they're done, they're in place. Even like my quoting system, which I've shown you guys, as well, as like a lead comes in, I just go click, 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 send, and then I wait for more information to go back, click, 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 pricing, send, done. And it's like old me with my Zero quoting was like tick, 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 two finger typing every single time. I'd retype the whole quote again. It's part of starting a business and running a business that you learn the hard way, but you had the intelligence to not learn the hard way, which is fantastic. Your website as well. To tell us about that. So had you any clue about websites? Had you any clue about what you would put on your website or anything like that? Because I'm not a web developer. I'm just a guy that knows patterns and has had experience in real life with my electrical business, what works, what doesn't. But yeah, tell us about your experience or how you like now your fucking amazing looking website that it's one of my personal favorites out of the group, that it's clean, it's crisp, it's to the point. But yeah, tell us about the journey building that.
Yeah, well, yeah. As far as before, I couldn't even imagine what kind of website I would have if it was. There would just be it'd be shocking. But but yeah, obviously, yeah, built the website out. Had a referral from you on a guide to kind of use because seen a website he'd done before that kind of like matched what we were after. Hit him up, told him what I wanted out of the messaging and stuff I wanted to have, and then they built it up. I was pretty happy with it to start off with, but then sent it over to you, helped me out, kind of a couple of little like tweaks and stuff here and there. I changed a few things that I wanted like specifically, but like things like is it CMS pages and stuff like that?
Yeah, so
Like I
they're the
would,
repetitive pages.
I wouldn't have a clue. Like there's no way before this that I would never have known what that is or would never have implemented that. And then yeah, even that's like I think that's huge for ranking in all the like different suburbs and things like that.
I'm biting my lip heavy on AI because I'm in the back of my mind. I want AI is going to be the new financial year topic that I'm going to be introducing heavily into inside Simplified Sparky and like
Mm.
let plugging in and starting to go AWOL. But like yeah, like who knows in a year's time there might be just a few clicks and you're getting your website built. So that's something that
Yeah.
I'm keeping my eye on as well. Like any little thing that I can see a system or process that can be bettering your businesses. That's like fuck, let's plug this in. It's a tried and tested trial. And that's with me as well as like I've spoken openly about this in podcasts that a lot of coaches out there will sell you the dream, they will sell you fluff, and they will try to tell you to implement something that they've never implemented into their business or they think it might be a good idea in theory. But when it comes to reality, it's like that's not actually a good idea and it's going to be out of date next week. Like right now, the time of this recording, Claude Fable 5 has been released and it's been retracted again because it was too
Okay.
powerful, too dangerous. And I mean, in between the 2 days where it was released, you almost had people selling courses on how to use Fable 5 and it's gone again. And this is what I'm trying to stay on top of and keep the finger on the pulse is what are we going to build that's going to stand the test of time, going to have longevity, and if anything, if more AI comes out, let's make it even more powerful. But that's where people have to keep the fucking guard up. Is like there's so many snake oil merchants out there selling shiny objects, selling these AI courses and stuff like that to become a guru. But like, and you spend enough time in YouTube, you learn it yourself, to be honest. But it's just like don't fall into traps. But that's yeah, it's going to be heavily influenced in inside and the new financial year coming around. So I'm very excited about that. Just to yeah, get some agents going and stuff like that. I'm tinkering in the background. We're not going to say too much. Your website's up and running, even getting queries from your website shortly after it went up as well, didn't you? That's not something that automatically happens. That's just you happen to be laid out. You happen to be in a good area. Most likely went down a trajectory of like possibly Google Business Profile to your website, then converting, because I know you're ranking quite well in your area, which is unbelievable for your profile. Why you're getting compliments and conversions is it's built correctly. It's built for a good user experience. It's built with the correct messaging. It's built that they can fill out a form very quickly and easily, and you get it handled quickly and easily.
I was getting inquiries like week one, week two from the website. And I would honestly say at the minute, my work is like 50% referral clients and people I know. And then 50% of it is really it's from the website inquiries and the Google business profile. I've been in business for maybe 4 months or so now. And 50% of my work is from a website. And I have plans to build that out even more. It's not even it's like that's at stage one. It's not even built out all the way. I have so many other plans for marketing and things like that. To know that that's ticking along the way that it is,
Yeah.
definitely a boost in confidence knowing that consistent lead flow is coming in from that, and there's not a it doesn't scare me that the next week no one's gonna be ringing the phone or whatever it is. Like I'm confident that like this week I'm sure that two leads will come in and there'll be some sort of like workflow from it.
You've built the proper foundations. There's a real argument for you spend money to make money, and you're not even spending money. You invest money. It wasn't like that. I'm not going to name figures. That website was actually extremely cheap. Like it was actually half the price what I pay for my website. And the reason is I just found a good contact, and now you've got that contact. But your website and like you look at you look at Dave, other members as well. Your businesses now look like you're established with years. You look like you know your shit, you're established with years. And that's the secret key is looking established because people can smell a rookie business. Builders almost prey on businesses that look rookie, DIY website, and they're like, brilliant, this guy will come in, do a cheap job, will churn and burn and get the next guy. And you've got that look and feel that you've been around for years. And that's why you're getting the good clients, why you're getting the good jobs. That's why you're going out there confidently quoting those jobs and getting those jobs. It all goes in tandem, but that's unbelievable. As you're saying, like your website's like at phase one, you're going to clap a turbo on and then you're going to be adding more pages, more services or whatever, but the bones of it are built. And as we were saying with the CMS pages, they will then start to evolve as well. You can just build them out and out and out, and then you can just build your website even heavier for SEO. And again, SEO is going through a crazy time at the moment. There's been a lot of algorithm changes, all the usual bullshit. I find myself reading the AI bubble up the top what they recommend is I find it brushes through everything. And like that's going to be the key of the future is like getting your business ranked up there. Right now you're ranking and Google's got to get its information and AI's got to get its information from somewhere. As you're building, you're still miles ahead of people that are just starting their business today or tomorrow, where it's going to be they're starting from ground zero working up. You're already miles ahead of those with your presence and your website. You did things the correct way. You went from full-time employment to subcontracting to doing your own work, and you started with maybe doing 1 day a week on your own work, 2 days of your own work, 3 days subbing, and now I believe you're down to maybe 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, depending on the week. Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, 1 to 2 days subcontracting. Sometimes, obviously, sometimes three comes in a bit of ways, but I'd say majority of the time now it's about 2 days subcontracting.
We jumped on a call probably about a month or so ago, and we had a back and forth, and you got wound up about having work for an apprentice that you use to do work with you. And I think, and it just shows like the heart you have that you were like more worried about trying to find that guy work. He's a good worker, I'm hearing. And I was like, well, hang on, why don't you unfortunately not take that guy to work with you and then you ease off the throttle a little bit and you spread your work over 2 days. I think a common misconception as well is like, which it was something that I would have thought about too, was if I don't get the job done in 1 day, the client's going to be shitty with me. And what I said to you was, fuck it, if the job takes 2 days, it takes 2 days. Just relay that to the client that, we're going to have to do this Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or else do a gap in between, whatever works with their schedule, but break it into 2 days. And the biggest worry with clients and you work in their home is power outage. And there's two things here. You can either advise them that like, okay, the power is going to be down intermittently because we're only working on, the power circuit for such an amount of time. If you're doing downlights or something like that and they're working from home, you can be like, you're sweet, your Wi-Fi will be working all day. The only thing that's going down is your lighting circuit, so it won't affect your power circuit. And worst case scenario is to buy a little power bank or something, plug their Wi-Fi into it, and then that will keep them humming along if that's the fear with their work. Tell us about the penny drop moment when you were kind of like, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I was always just if I got a big job, I'll just do
Shit.
get a bit of help to smash it out, and because that was kind of like how I always kind of viewed it. Like if you get a job, it's a big job, you just load up more boys on the job. That's kind of like the mentality I had, almost to the point where it's like, oh, if a job was too big, maybe I'm not a good fit for it because 3 days, like, oh god, the client's going to be unhappy if I'm there for 3, 4, 5 days dragging the job out. Or maybe I'm too small to do that. But then, like, yeah, to think like that, it kind of dropped for me. I'm like, oh, no, I'm trying to fill a working week. If a job comes in that's going to take me 3, 4 days, that's 3, 4 days I don't have to subcontract. I'm going to be making more money, and I've just filled out my week, and it's only like it's one lead. Like it makes total sense. It's like the perfect scenario. But in my head, I just was worked up to where like, oh, if it takes over a day, like that means that I need a hand. And
I would have had that as well to think like, oh, are they going to be pissed off that it's over 3 days? It's like people get their house painted and it takes a week to paint the house, so they're going to move all the shit all over the place just because. I think people fear kind of like because you may be solo going in there on your own that it's just like I think we get in our heads a lot. We get in our heads a lot with pricing. We get in our heads a lot of what clients are thinking. We think that clients will think like, fuck's sake, they should have this done like ages ago. If there was two of them, it would have been quicker. But I don't think you should worry about that because I think the kind of clients that you attract and you will be attracting because of your marketing, your messaging is the best kind of clients who actually care more about the job getting done neatly, correctly, and cleanly rather than rushed through and a shit job done and just smashed and get in, get out. I think that's not a fear to be had. I think the clients that we attract is the best kind of clients that just care about the job being done correctly.
the jobs I've done that over more than one day, no one's ever cared. Like, if the level of communications are good and they're confident that you're gonna rock up when you're going to, they don't seem to really, no, they're not concerned about it.
You hit the nail on the head massively there because communication is probably the number one thing. Communicating to the client what you do, number one, communicating to the client when they reach out quickly, communicating to the client about how long a job is going to take. What would piss a client off is if you took that job on and you said, we'll be there Monday. And then midway through Monday, you go, by the way, we're coming here again tomorrow. We're going to finish it tomorrow. That is the wrong way to do it. So you absolutely hit the nail on the head. If you communicate at the start, this is a big job. And it's like, you would then spread it over 2 days to be like, we're going to need 2 days on this. And look, best case scenario is you finish it in a day, or else like you say 2 days, but you finish it on Tuesday morning at 11, and then they're chuffed because you're out of there at 11, even though you told them 2 days. But if you don't communicate that to the client, that's where you get the 1 star reviews or the 3 star reviews for like just a slight lack of communication. Having that communication in place is paramount. When you do go to quote jobs now, because of stuff inside Simplified Sparky, my process that I use that I kind of show ye, like how confident are you now quoting jobs and just the way you go about quoting jobs?
There's always those couple of jobs where you're like, oh God, like if there's a renovation job and you kind of know there's going to be like a bit of callbacks, like if another trade doesn't do the right thing and the splashback's not put on the right time, like trying to account for that, that's the only time I really, but if it's just a mum and dad, like a service job, yeah, I'm pretty confident with it all now. And that was probably the biggest concern going into business is the quoting and pricing. And because when you're on wages, you just go rock up, do your 8 hours, and then you get paid your wage at the end of the day. You're not concerned about any of that. But now, if you quote it wrong, you're doing the job, and you're not going to make any money on it either. That is probably the biggest. I don't know about for everyone else, but that was the biggest fear for me is that like I've never done this before. And this is the thing that ultimately determines if I make money or not. And if I do it wrong, if I've committed to the job, I'm seeing it through. And then that doesn't guarantee I'm even going to make anything on it. I could almost be losing money. So yeah, rocking up and having confidence that you're going to make money on a job. Yeah, it's huge because I mean, that's the whole reason why you go to work, let alone start a business.
Absolutely. And then the what you would have done as well in the foundation level, and actually I may as well reveal this, but I'm building a new tool which will be revealed in this week's live session for the hourly rate calculator. How was that just getting a reality kick up the ass to be like, if I want to make this much as a wage,
Yeah.
this much in profit, how did that feel to actually go like, shit, I can't just charge this 120 an hour or whatever?
It's a bit of an eye opener, and I probably needed the kick in the ass to actually charge that. Like, because I mean, I feel like the number kind of scares you. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can charge that. You've laid it all out in front of yourself, like what your costs are and everything like that, and then how much you want to make. So it's just numbers. It's not being greedy or nothing like that. But then when you see the number and you hear what other people are charging, oh, I don't know if I can charge that, and then you get in your own head about it. So yeah, it was a good eye opener, and yeah, as far as price, I don't know. I think as far as getting knocked back because of price being the reason, it's not like that's like
It's
very
not
common.
bad.
Like, obviously, there's people that do shop around and they get a multiple quotes and they tell you that like, oh well, like this guy's much more cheaper and stuff. But like that probably not the client that you want to be dealing with anyways. But as far as like when you go on a job and it's a good client that like is fits our target market, it's I don't think no one really does like batted me down on price anyways.
It's such a common theme where people that give out about like people battering them in price are going to be clients that are coming from high pages, other lead generation websites. They're fishing in the wrong pond, is what they're doing. And
Mm.
then not only that, they're not prepping their business correctly. And they're the same people that are whinging about people being cheap on price. And it's because those lead generation companies, they market to the cheap and they're like, get the cheapest electricians, 3 quick quotes, blah, 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 blah. They target the cheaper people and then they'll fill out the form wanting a cheaper quote. And that's why the cycle happens of where the cheap quotes come from. And it's not until Sparkies realize that when they Google like cheapest electrician Sydney, cheapest electrician Perth, you'll start seeing these lead generation companies advertising. That's when people fill out their forms and they end up into that loop. Price comes down the line. It's convenience, it's communication, it's doing a good job, it's having a reputation. And after that, people are happy to pay a premium. At the end of the day, people buy Ferraris, people buy Fiats. They have the money, they have disposable income, they like nice things, and that's what we want to give our clients is the nice things experience of I want to pay for a good electrician. I think you're nailing that down. What excites me so much is like you're only a couple of months into business and you're crushing it already. It took me probably like 3 to 4 years to get to the stage where you are. And I think that's what I do inside in the program. I accelerate you to get to where you are now because I seen just the hurdles I jumped over to get to where you are now. It took me years and you're crushing it now and you're going to be crushing even further. And one of the wins and one of the Monday wins in the group, you put in that in one day you topped in profit. And it's crazy. That figure, like how long would it have taken for you to make that on wages. That probably would have been a week's wages.
Yeah, that's pretty much just shy of what I was making for a full week on wages, which is so funny because I remember before starting my business, I remember actually writing out like all my weekly expenses, like what rent is, how much food will cost me, adding it all up to be like, okay, how much money do I need to live? How many days subcontract do I need to do and stuff? And then come out one day and pretty much make what I was making in a week when I was on wages. It's a good feeling.
And that's the cool thing. You can afford to take a few days off a week to work on your business then. And that's what, like, when you know your numbers, know your figures, particularly starting out, you can actually afford to work 2 days a week, make juicy profit. And then the other 3 days, you just either hustle to get work or else you just start working on the business, implementing stuff, dropping flyers, doing stuff that can bring you in more work in that downtime. And then between the systems, the automations, the client nurturing back in again, it will all come together. But it's knowing the numbers, and the fact that you made that much profit in one day is absolutely insane. And it's like, obviously that's then becoming a theme and is going to go on traject into the future. My floor number of like having that number to aim, you will have that digit that you'll be like, okay, if I'm not making that much in a day, I'm not going to be too happy about my day. But if I'm above that, you're absolutely cheering that that's going to be a fantastic day in your business. To people that are watching this, people on the fence, people that are thinking about starting an electrical business, or people that are even in business and they've got a staff member or two, they're spinning wheels and just unsure and they're just running a bit of a shitty business, would you advise them to join Simplified Sparky? Have you taken stuff from it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think, yeah, obviously from the chat, I think you can obviously see that I have. And yeah, my big thing is just, yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Like I wouldn't have known that I would have like, ended up like a crappy website if it wasn't for knowing what a good website is. And I wouldn't know like the level of community. I wouldn't know about all the automations and stuff that I can set up if it wasn't. I would have been busting my ass and working hard and reading all the books and listening to all the free content. So if I hadn't joined, I would have thought I was doing good. But I know for a fact that if you were to compare me who didn't join and the me now that has joined, the business I have now would obviously be much better than if I hadn't. And so yeah, I think that's just the main thing. You don't know what you don't know. Like, it might be takeaway.
I really appreciate that. And I think already what you've achieved in that day's profit that you spoke about, like, I'm sure you can see return on investment in that as well.
It's costing you money to not know. It's costing you money. And now, like, even I listened to Dave's episode, and what he said kind of stuck with me when he said about paying for everything twice because you're building a website which is costing you money. And then you come to find out, like, actually, this isn't really converting very well. So then you got to do it again. So you're paying for everything twice to get it right. And you're making all the mistakes where doing something like this, you've made and you're making the mistakes for me. And then you can just hand it to me on a platter, just going like, yeah, like this works, this doesn't work. Maybe try this. It's a bit of a cheat sheet. I don't know. Obviously, I've done it. So obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I think, yeah.
I want you to be biased.
Yeah.
But I think what you said there is like the poor man pays twice. I'm totally cool if people just want to listen to the podcast and take some free information, inject into their business. I'm still happy that I'm bettering the industry in some way, that every ship can rise together with that tide as long as people implement. And yeah, it just makes it makes a better place. And I'm absolutely overwhelmed with the quality of guys in there as well, that it's just such a good group of guys. I'm very, very fortunate to have them in there just like yourself. Thanks so much, Austin, and I'll chat to you soon.